All right. Okay, this is like take two of this video where we finally are doing it. We're finally doing it. I apologize. This should have been up last week. But due to some technical difficulties on my end, we stopped. And honestly, just to get this going, I need to know from the chat if the same problem is happening again. Which is, does the audio sound okay? I have my fan on, but I know that wasn't the cause of last week's issues. It was an internal thing. StreamYard had switched up my audio, and so as soon as I get confirmation that this is not, this isn't once again just me squawking off, um, but we are here to do the second, probably the last in a while, for a while, of any kind of unboxing video. But the good news is that I have all of them to unbox today. I have a ton of stuff to unbox. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 10, I believe 10 things to open. And while we're doing that, we're going to mix in other key books from my collection and some things that just kind of tie in closely so I wouldn't have to like show them later for some of these. But again, a lot of these books are still from only one box that I have, the ones that aren't getting unboxed today. But since this would be a good way to get started again, we're going to just show off some of our Funkos to let some people actually arrive to the video if anybody else is coming. I did put this out on Twitter, which as you can see here at the bottom of the screen, yay. I am back on Twitter. I am actually at Review Smirking though now instead of some other form of name. I don't plan on using Twitter really, but we'll see what happens. It's going to mostly be a place where I can still promote my stuff and reach out to people that I might not be able to find otherwise. So let's just get started because there are going to be some changes to my channel pretty soon. Whether or not how much we're covering of new stuff might be limited, but I am covering House of the Dragon right now, just kind of briefly. Although 36 minutes on my last video isn't exactly brief. But we're going to be doing things, and I've got some videos that I really need to make that are personal because welcome to Smirking Reviews. We get personal here. We talk about all kinds of stuff. We're going to be going back to some old favorites too and things like that. We're going to try to get back on the horse for real. But I have to be honest, I'm still trying to balance my life and what I do here. And that means that I'll probably be making less things. Just when I make them, I think they'll just be a lot more special. And I'll be able to put a lot more time into a lot of them. I think a lot of the videos for current stuff are going to be a lot more kind of fast and loose, while the rest of this stuff will be a lot more produced feeling. And I think that quality over, getting out there and being first and all that. But there are going to be some videos talking about, personal stuff, and there's going to be some videos talking about just shows and things that I haven't really talked about or didn't, stopped talking about all that. So, but first, like I said, I was going to talk about some of these Funkos that I have. They're really cool. And the first one we're going to start off with is just kind of like the evolution of the Funkos that I've gotten of this. I love the Walking Dead comic. The show is okay. But Negan's like my favorite character outside of Rick on that, in the books. And when they started making Funkos, I of course had to grab one, right? So I mean, everybody has kind of seen the Negan Funkos, but I've got like all of them. This is the black and white comic book version of that same one, which is weird because you'd think it would be more like the comic book version if they were going to make a black and white one. But then they have this one, which is a lot more like the comic book one. I love that this one's got a lot more blood, but this is also, I mean, I think these are all basically just based off of Jeffrey Dean Morgan's. Um, but after all of that, there's like 3 different Negans. I finally got, recently for my birthday, the most current Negan that's out there. No Lucille, but it's, you know, him living on the wasteland Negan. And so it's kind of like pretty cool to have all the Negans. I don't have, like, I know a lot of these characters have multiple versions of themselves, but the Negan ones are pretty cool and pretty special. Now, I also want to show off, because there's going to be a lot of Daredevil in this video, just to let y'all know. And, because Daredevil, it's so weird. Like, a lot of people don't, people that read comics, that know what good comics are, really good comics, outside of our own personal tastes and stuff, Daredevil is basically, easily, hands down, been one of the best comics for years. But I don't know anybody that just casually reads comics that is into Daredevil, other than the shows. So what's fortunate for us is that the Daredevil show that was on Netflix was really, really good. Devra, there are Glens. There are several Glens. There's a lot of Glens. The only Glen I don't think exists is the one where Glenn gets his head bashed in, like bashed in head Glenn. But I think I'd buy bashed in head Glenn, and that makes me sick, I think. So you got all this Daredevil stuff. Finally, he's coming back. Charlie Cox is coming back. They're getting 18 episodes. They're doing the Born Again story, sort of. And so I just wanted to show off my Daredevil Funko, because it's Daredevil. I freaking love it. I freaking love Daredevil. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of Daredevil in this video. Now, here's another cool one for everybody. Whoa. I don't know why it's acting like there's a green screen behind me, but that's the Ratchet and Clank from PlayStation Funkos. And then from last year for my birthday, and I wanted to use these, but I'm like I kind of just don't want to take them out of the box because I love them so much. And I've got the Han and Greedo Funkos, except they're salt and pepper shakers. And as much as I want to use them, and I think when I get there's going to be a time where I'm going to have new digs, I will be breaking out the Han and Greedo salt and pepper shakers when I've got my own kitchen table again to put them on. Next up, this one is really, really special. As soon as I saw this, I had to get it. And it's been in the background, but I don't think I've ever really held it up or pointed it out. That I've got the Thanos from Earth 18138, which is he's Thanos Punisher. He's got a big ass gun, and basically this Thanos was raised by the Cosmic Ghost Rider to become the Punisher. The Cosmic Ghost Rider is one of the crazier characters to come out of comics in the last few years. Haven't really done much with him since, man. I kind of feel like he's like Weapon H. They don't really know what to do with him right now, it feels like. But Thanos Punisher coming out of all that, it's just a great concept. Even if they don't really do anything with it, I'm sure that they will at some point. But just a really cool idea. Very multiverse, since the multiverse is so popular right now. Past the Hans, yeah. Okay, now this one's a big one, and I think it's also been in the background a couple of times. But when I saw it, I was just like, there's no way I'm not buying a Celestial. And even though a lot of people don't like the Eternals movie, even though I am a fan of the Eternals movie, this is Arishem, the Celestial, the king of the Celestials for the Eternals. This sucker is massive. This is a big boy. Big boy. This is one of those that I've taken out of the box and made sure that I could actually put it back in the box, unlike my giant Galactus. And then last but not least, for my Funkos, I just wanted to point out, and this isn't this is definitely on purpose, because this is Saul Goodman right here. Someone gave me, I believe for one of my birthdays, I received a Vince Gilligan Funko Pop, and you know, so many Funkos are cool, and some of them just don't seem like anything, and it's just Vince Gilligan in a suit. But Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and some of the best written X-Files and stuff like that, it's just dope. It's just cool. Vince Gilligan has a Funko Pop. To me, that's like me having a Funko Pop. Like it's weird. Okay, so those are the Funkos. I gave people a chance to come in, and actually nobody hasn't affected anything at all. Time or anything has not affected any of this, and it's kind of depressing, but it's okay. It's okay. We're powering through. So, let's just jump right into the first unboxing then. Since if you're not here, then you're just gonna have to watch it later, and that's no fun to watch it later. But well, it is. But watching it live is special because then you get to see me act like I never made a video before. All right, so in this one right here, I picked this one first because it's really the speculation around this was why I remembered about this book series. This is a full series that I bought, and it's all because of the speculation that I heard about that made me remember. Oh my God, I've always wanted to read this because I like the concept. I like a lot of the stories that, one of the things that's hard in comics for me lately, why I stopped like reading DC was because I felt like, since mostly my likes are for Batman and the Batman family in DC, I kind of was like, I feel like I've seen everything that I ever really need to see from Batman. And the Batman stories that I like over the last couple of years really are the ones that have nothing to do with continuity, when they just have fun with the character. And it's the same here, and with lately with the what if stuff going on, that I thought was okay at times, and I think they're going to try to up their game. But I like the concept of taking familiar characters, putting them in unique situations that are way out of canon. Things from the multiverse. And so I saw the latest trailer for What If Season 2, and while there was none of what I was told was going to be in that trailer, what it was the Comic-Con trailer that showed some stuff briefly from what we think is going to be at least some sort of version of this series of books that I'm almost done unboxing right now. I've been sitting on these books for a while. And let me get them all in order here, because there are, I believe, 8 of them. 6, 7, 8. And that is Marvel 1602. I have all these issues came out. Issue number 2. Seriously, my camera's operating as if I'm on a green screen. I might have to check my settings here real quick. Go to this virtual background thing. Turn off. I think I need to turn off the fade on that maybe. Backdrop color. No. I'm gonna get rid of the check mark that says I have a green screen. Which is now gonna shoot me away for a second. Don't worry, I will be right. I am right here. Maybe I shouldn't have messed with anything. Oh my gosh, what is happening? This shouldn't even be on right now. This is so bizarre. Okay. There we go. Wild. Okay, so yeah, we have Marvel 1602. This is issue number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8. Now, the cool thing about Marvel 1602 is that it's written by Neil Gaiman, who did Sandman, and it's just taking all the Marvel characters, putting them back in this time period. It's a pretty simple concept, but like everything is different, and I love these kinds of stories. And with Neil Gaiman writing this, it is a fantastic story. A 8 long kind of what if kind of story that I do believe is getting adapted, like they've said, for season 2 of What If, and I'm sure that it'll be a very loose, friendly, family friendly version of all this. Probably a lot sillier. Taking itself a lot less seriously than it would and it does in the books, I'm sure. But I'm excited to check it out again and read that book. Now, that was the first one. All right. Now, the next little grouping we're going to do is we're going to be talking about a few Avengers books that I got. So, Avengers has a lot of key issues. A lot. And unfortunately, most of them, the real keys are very, very, very expensive. Very, very hard to get in high grade. Now, as the last video that I did where I showed off Avengers number 25, the first time Avengers meet Doom. That's an awesome key kind of book. But it's in a low grade, and I didn't, but I wanted that specific book. I didn't really mind that it was a lower grade. And sometimes, as a collector, who's especially one like me who's not looking to sell these books really, some of the quality can be looked, I don't get too freaked out about quality over what I can actually get my hands on. But even then, at times, you have to take maybe not the first appearance, maybe the second appearance. And in this case, that's what I did with Avengers number 58, which is the second appearance of Vision. But also, like, the secrets of Vision. Basically, we're kind of like talking about like the origin of Vision. And it's all really cool. And in fact, some of these books I am going to just kind of open up just real quickly for everybody. Because these are like, this takes, this goes way freaking back. And these are still readable. This issue came out in November of 1968. And this is Roy Thomas, John Buscema. I mean, right off the bat, like, this very first page is so iconic. Like, even an android can cry. And you've got, like, Black Panther there on the cover. That's just... This is 1968, people. We think of all the more modern artists and how great they are and how, I'll admit, there's a ton of great artists out there that are improving in so many ways what we could, what they got from the past. But when you look at those old, where everybody else came from, and you see panels like that, it's like, it doesn't matter if it was 1968 or 2022. And so, the second-ish appearance of Vision, it's just a great book. And I barely paid anything for this. It's just that you gotta, if you're not in it for the money, it's okay to, like, get these books and feel good about it, especially like this one that I'm going to show right now. It's got like somebody had clearly has like a little stamp, a date stamp on the side of it, but I didn't mind that much because it was more about what's inside the book and what it means to me. And one of the things that I really like that aren't just key characters, I go in for weird keys. Just personal things that I like to know that I have about things. like certain origins and places, certain places, the first time that a character, or a place is seen for the first time. And sometimes it's just the metal that goes onto somebody's claws that attracts me and goes, oh, I would like to have that. Which is why I bought the Mighty Avengers number 66, which is the very first appearance of adamantium, the stuff that's on Wolverine's claws. To me, that's just cool as hell. And as you can see, if you look right here, there is this little stamp that got put there, and I paid $25, I think, for this issue. And the thing is like the Mighty Avengers number 66. It's also like the first appearance of like the Ultron Prime, I think, like the most powerful Ultron, I believe, is this. This is also the first appearance of that. But like for me, I purposely tracked down what's the first appearance of adamantium. I didn't care what else was going on in the book, but this is that, and it just so happens to also be a fantastic issue of the Avengers. You can get some of these books if you look, and if you're willing to just take a little lower quality, it's okay. But I think I got a really good deal on that. So the next one we have is Avengers number 257. Much further along than Avengers number 66. 257. Well, what is the significance of this little issue? Yeah, it's got Star Fox on it, Harry Styles gonna be, he appeared at the end of Eternals. But that's not the important thing in here. This is for Guardians of the Galaxy fans. And this is the first appearance of Nebula. And it's pretty cool. Terminus is a villain that's got his own annual series called the Terminus Effect back in, I think, the very last bit of the 80s. Maybe the very first bit of the 90s, I think. But this is Nebula's first appearance. And you can still get this first appearance for pretty cheap, considering the popularity of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And what Kieran Gillen did for that character. Now, these are much sought after books. These were as soon as the speculation about Kang came out. A lot of these books started disappearing very fast, and if you weren't quick enough, you were going to pay a lot. And I realized that I didn't really have a lot of Kang in my collection, so I remedied that. And these are just three of the books that I think are pretty iconic these days for when it comes to Avengers and the Kang Dynasty and stuff and things we were going to be seeing. But this is Avengers number 267, Kang Lives, where you've got the Avengers and the X-Men and Hulk and Submariner all getting ready to fight Kang. Number 268. We got Monica Rambeau in there. And Hercules, who's got teased at the end of Thor. Spoilers for Thor. And then, this Immortus, which is a lot of people were, I believe, the version of Kang, I think, from WandaVision might have been Immortus, but I'm not 100% on that. But just, these are pretty popular. These were getting spec'd pretty hard. Whether or not it all pays off, to me, it doesn't really matter. But it is kind of interesting to watch how spec plays out, depending on how they decide to do things in the MCU. A lot of people were specking on a lot of stuff for Thor, Love and Thunder, and then just kind of didn't go anywhere. And again, I got my own books from that run of speculation for Thor and Love and Thunder, but I just wanted the characters that they were talking about in my collection. So I didn't get in too big of a twist over it. Alright, so next up we're going to do another unboxing here. And this is the book. This came from all the way from Littleton, Colorado to get this book. I always carry my box cutter so I can get in this. Oh, look at this. This guy, he just kind of put it in there. Made it very easy for at least for me to get it out of the box. Now, again, I go in for weird keys. And again, speculation. They just give me the ideas, and because Namor is gonna be in the new Black Panther movie, and that'll open him up for the whole universe. And really, since he's kind of like the first, well, and Submariner's Apocalypse is like the first, talked about like mutant, but Namor is also one of the first mutants like out there, at least introduced anyway. And if you can get your hands on some good Namor stuff, and I'm looking at this book right now, and as soon as I can, I'm going to put it in new bag and board outside of this. But this is another interesting key for like small end. Like this book would be something that they would speculate, like if this was, if they thought that this character was going to be Thor: Love and Thunder, I could see this book getting speculated on, but I'm more interested in the weapon that this guy carries along with him. But it's also a first appearance, so it counts. But this is Tales to Astonish with the Submariner and Hulk, number 70. Okay, this is I believe this is a pretty old book. This is from the 60s. This is actually the first Submariner in the Tales to Astonish book, where he and Hulk share billing. The first appearance, though, that's in this is of King Neptune. Now, as I say this, and even as I was thinking about it earlier, it's like King Neptune, like this is, yes, that King Neptune, Poseidon. The Marvel Universe's version of Poseidon. Now, there was a lot of speculation around Zeus and things like that for when Thor: Love and Thunder came out. But Poseidon is the god that the people at Atlantis like worship, and he exists. They've got the gods. We have Russell Crowe in Thor: Love and Thunder, and it's possible. It's very possible that there will be some kind of like King Neptune references, maybe even the character now that Zeus is in there. But I was more interested in King Neptune's trident that he has. It's like basically one of the most powerful weapons in the Marvel universe when it's broken down into it, and what it can all accomplish if you think of like the Greek gods and how powerful they are. In fact, King Neptune is I believe he is technically more magical and powerful than Doctor Strange. So it's kind of a cool thing, but I mean, they are gods, right? They come from like the pocket dimension of Olympus. But this is a pretty fun book. Again, this didn't cost me hardly anything because it's a raw copy. It's definitely showed its age. This is not a book that I'd want to be all loosey-goosey with outside of like the box, and I definitely can feel like some of the issues on the cover, but it's still intact. It's still readable. But to go along with that book, I also figured I'd pop up another kind of key issue of Submariner that involves Namor, and that's Submariner number 38 from his like original, and this is the origin of Namor. So you tell me when they decide to like tell him, and even if they don't like tell it the way it is because they change so much, but still when people like look for it, this will be the one that I think that people would be going to as far as like the oldest origin of the character. And again, if you jumped on some of these early, you could get your hands on them pretty fast. So that's Tales to Astonish number 70 and Submariner number 38. Real quickly, we're going to show this one off, which is Captain America number 25. Who is the new Captain America? Why is this one important? Well, it's because they're definitely not wanting you to know who the new Captain America is, and this is where it is revealed for the first time that Sam Wilson is the new Captain America. This book is from the past, like the last, I'd say 10-ish years, I think, but it is Rick Remender, and this was, I have a couple actual variants of this issue, but this is the standard copy of the first appearance of Sam Wilson as Captain America. Pretty cool book. Very popular for a minute when all this, when Sam was getting the costume and gonna have the show and everything else, and now we got Captain America 4 coming out, and him being confirmed. They're not just bringing back Steve Rogers, to just take over again. And I need a little water. So, now we're getting to it. Now we're starting to get to it. So we're going to unbox this one right here. This one comes all the way from Staten Island, New York. So, what could it be? Now, this one is mostly... I ordered them from the same person. And I was looking for this one book specifically, but it just so happened to have... It was coming with a second book that is a key. And if you're a fan of female characters, especially female characters from the X-Men universe, that you might not really think of... Definitely, I would say no one would probably think of characters like this as to be any kind of important key. There's all sorts of, first appearances, and it really, again, all depends on what they decide to do with it that decides that kind of value to the book as far as selling it. But again, I'm not interested in selling it. Now, the key that I got with this book that I was actually looking for is New Mutants Annual Number One. All the way back. Bill Sienkiewicz, I think. I always forget how to say his name. Freaking love his art. Steal This Planet, a rock fable. Now, what's the key going on in this book? The key in this book is a female character known as Lila Cheney. And if you know who Lila Cheney is, she's tied in with like Dazzler and everybody else, but she's a cool female character, and I think it's you can get this book basically for nothing. But this is cool. She's a cool character. I like her anyway. But the real reason that I went to that seller is because I was looking for this little baby. Because Arthur Adams is basically my favorite of the older artists. Jim Lee's like my favorite artist of all time, but Arthur Adams is just the man. And he really didn't do a ton of stuff, but this is for New Mutants Number One Special Edition. This isn't New Mutants Number One. This is just a one-shot book, but this is all Arthur Adams, and he did a lot of stuff in this time period. This one is a wraparound cover. Arthur Adams is the guy that I have a framed poster. I have a framed poster from 1985 that was hanging in the background of some of my comic book videos from a while ago. But for my birthday this year, I received a framed sketch of the New Mutants by Arthur Adams, signed by the artist, and it was really, really cool. And really, really cool. And I'll show you like what this wraparound looks like. Here we go. And this is like the New Mutants, some of the X-Men in Asgard. And Arthur Adams' art just really speaks to me. This book, when I was looking for it, there really weren't that many around. And I'm sure that you could probably find these at your local comic shop. Probably without a lot of difficulty, but I couldn't find it on the website that I go to for all of my comic needs, which is Graham Cracker Comics. Check them out. I love that website. And I love that store. Oops. Knocked over some stuff. I'm like basically surrounded by all my things really tightly. All right. So, next up, let's just do this, man. We got a lot of boxes. So this next one is coming all the way from West Sacramento, California. I know that I have some friends from California, so California represent. You know, it's kind of funny though. I get a lot of my California stuff comes a lot faster than places like on the East Coast. It's kind of weird. Now this one has a double. I have the other issue, another issue that I'm going to show. that ties into this book. And it's a small key right now. I don't think there's too much speculation on this book. I think you can get it relatively easily. But I was looking into books that I don't have a lot of keys for, or in. And one of those is Amazing Spider-Man. Like, I just don't have a lot of Amazing Spider-Man. I have a lot of recent Spider-Man. But, like, when I was kind of rebuilding my collection after I quit collecting back way back in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, because my entire collection was stolen. And I've spent a long time rebuilding that collection. But one of the books that I never really spent a lot of time rebuilding is Amazing Spider-Man. And so I started looking into like some of the keys that are in that book. And one of them that I just wanted to get my hands on, because I always think that this character's weird and I'm weird and I'm into the weird shit in Marvel. And that's Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 22. Part of the Evolutionary War. So this is actually the High Evolutionary arc. There's a whole bunch of issues that all these annuals from this time were part of the Evolutionary War. I have a bunch of them, but this one just happens to be the first appearance of Speedball. And as silly as he looks and silly as that name is, he's got some crazy powers. And this is his first appearance. And later on, he would go on to be in his own team called the New Warriors, which is a book from the 90s that gave us Night Thrasher and Kid Nova and who else is in Marvel Boy, but also brought back some characters like Firestar and Namorita, and had Speedball in it as well as a team of young kind of like Avengers type characters. And like Night Thrasher it was so 90s. He had a skateboard, right? But he was also in like battle armor and things. But Speedball's kind of like kinetic energy, I believe. Kind of think like Gambit uses kinetic energy in his cards, and Bishop, the character of Bishop, can absorb energy kinetically. Well, this guy basically can he's like kind of indestructible when he's like a Speedball. And it's not, again, you never know when this would be valuable, but it's worth it to the right person, namely me. So, there you go. Alright, so we're getting into some we're getting close to, not really. So I'm just going to keep unboxing and try to keep moving along, because I want to get to the Daredevil stuff. But to get to the Daredevil stuff, we're going to wait till we get to that key book. And then we're just going to kind of plow through the rest. So you're getting a lot of unboxings. Next one up right now. Yes. Okay. Well, we got to the Daredevil, so we might as well. I'm going to show off some of these older Daredevils leading up to. Okay, here we go. So, Daredevil, one of my favorite characters. His books are really, really good. But, like going way back, a lot of Daredevil stuff was things that you just don't see too often anymore. Like really big Daredevil versus Doctor Doom, things like that. But some of this stuff might pay off, some of it might not. But this one right here is Daredevil number 13. Right? Think about that. Number 13. Now, what's the importance of this? Well, last week I showed you the very last issue of Kazar. The guy from the Savage Land, right? Well, this is not his first appearance, but it is his origin. And it's not just his origin. Just like Adamantium, I looked up first appearance of Vibranium. And that is what you get in Daredevil number 13, is the first appearance of Vibranium. The stuff Cap's shield's made out of. The stuff that Black Panther and Wakanda is protecting. And all that stuff. So, all the way back in Daredevil number 13, in a book with the origin of the man from the Savage Land, is the first appearance of Vibranium. And so, how was I not going to get this book? So, going off of that, though, with more Daredevil, this is also a couple of keys here. Because you have the first appearance of a character named Leapfrog. but also something that I thought was kind of like when I think about what they can do with Daredevil stories, and more than just, Daredevil versus Kingpin stories and things that they can do eventually. And one of those stories is where Matt Murdock has to kind of try to figure out what to do about, like, how do I keep people from figuring out that I'm Daredevil? And that is where he magically, because a lot of this stuff happens with magic back in those days, he creates a twin brother. And this is the first appearance of that brother, named Matt Murdock. And Matt Murdock basically exists so that he can pretend to be, it's Mike Murdock, I should say. His name is Mike Murdock, and he's pretending to be Matt Murdock. So that whenever anybody, if they were ever to be like, why isn't Daredevil and Matt Murdock ever in the same room twice, like Superman, like Superman and Clark Kent? Well, Matt Murdock created a whole person to take the fall whenever anybody would come looking, they'd go, oh, well, Matt Murdock can't possibly be, Daredevil, because that's him right there. They could, and so it's like they're twins. And it's just kind of a get out of jail free card for Daredevil. But I always thought that that's something that they could definitely touch on at some point in Daredevil. Which then after that we go to Daredevil number 41, which is the death of Mike Murdock. Because when you put a target on a magical character's back to get people off the scent that you're Daredevil, well, somebody's going to end up taking a shot at your twin brother, and that's where the death of Mike Murdock comes in. So issue 25 to issue 41 in about 16 issues. Well, his cover only lasted about 16 issues. But Mike Murdock has come back just like every comic character outside of Uncle Ben, unless you're reading a multiverse book, comes back to life, So it doesn't, it kind of ruins it, but at the same time, it's the first life and death of Mike Murdock. Now, we're about to get to the one that I unboxed, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Daredevil and the Black Widow. So, some of these books, they changed the name, they changed the title slightly, and in this, Black Widow joined the Daredevil comic book for a little while. And the importance of Daredevil number 102, it's not a key, it's not anything like this. I mean, you got Stiltman, right? But it's not the first appearance of Stiltman. This is the first appearance of Chris Claremont writing for Marvel. This is Chris Claremont's very first written book, and I follow writers like crazy. This being the very first work at Marvel that he is all his is pretty cool. If you don't know who Chris Claremont is, here it is. To anybody in the comics world, they know who Chris Claremont is, but to any layperson, Chris Claremont is the guy who wrote for X-Men for like over, I got about 2 decades, just over 2 decades, around that. All the key stuff all the way leading into the early 90s. And he's done more with X-Men The End and things like that, but he's continued that storyline too, and he still pops up here and there. Nowadays, he's a staple at conventions. I am definitely getting him to sign this when I see him next, because he is a pretty cool guy, but this is his very first work in comics. Now, the book that I opened is Daredevil and the Black Widow, number 105. Now, what's so important about this? Well, if you look real close, you see this bald woman right here. This is the first appearance of Drax's daughter, who becomes a moon dragon, but this is also the first appearance, I believe, of a woman who becomes like the original moon dragon. And moon dragon's gonna be a thing. And this goes all the way back to there. Pretty cool. Now, again, these aren't like, keys to just blow, that are always going to blow up everybody's skirts. But I like them. I like collecting the female characters that I can get my hands on from the Marvel Universe. Alright, so that was that one. Now, this one, I had to sign for at the post office because it came south of the border in Mexico. And I was actually a little bit worried that this book would be, I would accidentally have bought the Spanish version of it. Because those exist. It's, like, I think we take it for granted. I think we take a lot of things for granted in America. But I think we take for granted that other countries have their own versions of these books. And I've been big into collecting a certain run lately. Because Hulk is one of my favorite books of all time. And I'm kind of trying to be a completionist on Hulk, or at least was trying to be a completionist on Hulk. And to kind of build up to what we're going to see here, let's bust out. Well, I might have not brought it. That's okay. Checking to see if I brought them up here. I don't think I did. Wait, did I? No, I did not. But that's okay. Because this is Hulk. Number 16. The very first appearance of Red She-Hulk. So, for anybody who's really big into She-Hulk these days, She-Hulk is pretty much on the consciousness, whether you like the character or not, whether you like the show or not, doesn't matter. But this is the direct edition of Red She-Hulk. I had the first two appearances of Hulk number 1, issues number 1 and 2, but I guess I put them somewhere else. I don't know why. But this is a pretty great book. It's kind of spiking in value. I was going to buy this from my local LCS, but they wanted $50 for it, and I was able to find it for $20 in Mexico. So, first appearance of Red She-Hulk. Got a gun and a sai. It's like Elektra on steroids. So, pretty cool key book. Probably be bringing this one in to show my friend at work. Get well soon, buddy. You know who you are. Okay, so the next little grouping of books that we're going to just kind of breeze through. Because I said that there's a lot of Daredevil talk going around. And I just thought I would quickly show some pretty fun... I mean, this book right here that I'm going to show you is a pretty great book. Again, sometimes you can't afford the first appearances of a character. Sometimes you have to take the second appearance, which is what I had to do here with Daredevil number 132, which is the second appearance of Bullseye. You know, and a lot of these, you know, what happens is the market, you know, that drives these books up, the first appearances to where a lot of people can't afford them. They go to the second choice, and then that raises kind of a lot of the value, I think, for some of these when people start looking for the more affordable books that they can get on. But Bullseye second appearance for hardly any money, I buy that for $1. Speaking of which, I mean, another character we might see, we might not see, but this is Daredevil number 150. This is another key for the first appearance of Paladin, kind of a soldier, mercenary, soldier of fortune character that could show up kind of in any form. Anytime they need some guy that, you know, to do, you know, wet work, that kind of thing, this is the guy. Paladin. Oh, and here we are. They were buried. The two Hulks. Which is, this is Red Hulk, or this is Hulk number 1 and Hulk number 2. From Jeff Loeb and McGinnis. Hulk number 2 is actually the first full appearance of Red Hulk. I love the eye behind the mask, like Tony Stark going, whoa! But Hulk number 1, direct edition, first appearance of Red Hulk. I have a couple of variants. I showed the 9.8 that I have, that I was given. But moving on quickly. I don't want to breeze past these too much, but this one right here, this is one that I've been looking forward to finding, which is Daredevil number 170, the first appearance of Kingpin in the Daredevil books, basically kicking off. This kicks off the Daredevil versus Kingpin stuff. I have 170, which, again, if you can get your hands on a good copy of this, even just a standard copy of this is a fun book to get. I couldn't believe I got this for like $20 in really good condition. So you got 171, the one after that, pretty iconic. Oh, Kingpin's a massive character. And a massive guy. Got Daredevil number 179. This is getting into the Frank Miller and Elektra stuff. Daredevil number 181. Death of Elektra. Bullseye fighting Elektra. This was made famous in the Ben Affleck one. Whoa. Where Elektra, Jennifer Garner, gets killed by Colin Farrell. I hate that that's like what we remember this from. Like they took this Frank Miller, great Frank Miller story and just butchered it for that movie. But this is it. The big fight. And of course, the death after the death of Elektra. Classic Daredevil cover here with number 184. Now this I had in the background for a little while when I was I was filming kind of over on the other side of my little space here. But, you know, Daredevil and guns doesn't really happen too often, so it's a pretty iconic cover. First appearance of Wolverine meeting Daredevil. Daredevil and Wolverine's first appearance. And I gotta say, like, the Wolverine's looked better. He's been drawn better, but that's nevertheless the first meeting of Wolverine and Daredevil. This one, though, the 197, is the first appearance of, I always butcher if it's Yuriko or Yukio. I think it's, but it's the first appearance of the character who becomes Lady Deathstrike, one of Wolverine's big-time villains, the one whose father was the person who came up with, I think I might have disconnected my camera on accident because I tapped it. I tapped the side of my wire over here. And this key right here is a book that I can't believe is not getting more traction because he is a villain. I think there was a lot of talk. I think this book might have had some value and dropped off. I'm not sure, but Daredevil number 248, which is the first appearance of Bushwhacker, a guy who's got this arm that becomes like this organic gun. I always thought it was a pretty cool concept. Now, here's another big key for Daredevil. This is 254. This is the first appearance of Typhoid Mary. Now, they actually had Typhoid Mary in the Netflix show, played by, oh goodness, she was made famous, unfortunately, for being in that Star Trek movie where they purposely in the trailer showed her in her like underwear for no reason, and her name is escaping me right now. But they really didn't do if they're gonna fail, this was if the Daredevil show had some failures, it was in how they, or actually I think no, it wasn't in Daredevil. They never failed in Daredevil. Why am I acting like they did? No, Typhoid Mary showed up in Iron Fist, and if they were gonna, you know, that show had a lot of problems. And they really mishandled Typhoid Mary. They really, really did. But it wasn't the actress's fault. It was the material. It was the writing. It was the show running. But, again, if they could get this character right, this character has a lot of problems. And she's tied most recently to Kingpin, who she is currently married to. Now, these are the issues that are part of the Born Again series that's coming out. I don't have 227, the big one that kicks it off, but these are all the issues that deal with that kind of arc. And clearly it's going to be more than that. But those are 228, 230, and 231 of Daredevil. We've only got two more Daredevils here. This one is God and Country, right? Daredevil number 232. The significance of this is the key in this, the first appearance of a guy named Nuke. And yeah, in this day and age, I don't know if Marvel has the guts to portray anybody with an American flag tattooed to their face. But this is 233 as well, where it's Daredevil and Cap fighting this guy. If you look carefully at this guy's face, yes, he's got the Stars and Stripes like tattooed to his face. there's plenty of people that will probably adopt that moniker and call themselves like, oh, I'm gonna be the new nuke for America. Well, I don't know. I don't know if they'd have that. Okay, next book. Unboxing. So many things and no one here. I want to thank Deborah. I want to thank you, Deborah, so much for being here. Apparently everybody else is going to watch it later and skim through everything. But this is what I get for delaying my video for like a couple of weeks practically. Well, no, it's only been a week. And this one comes from... Where does this one come from? This one comes from Daly City, California. California. Break this sucker out. Wow, this person really sealed this sucker up. So that's nice to see. You know, a lot of times when you're ordering off of eBay and things like that, the way that you can get ripped off on shipping, I've found mostly pays off. You know, you got people that are at least just trying to get you that book safe and sound. And so what you try to do, at least what I try to do, is try to find the people that'll negotiate a price on a book. That way you can kind of, when you see the shipping, you can try to lower that offering price down to like get to match so that your shipping cost, when adding the shipping cost in, the book doesn't have to cost so much. And this one I just opened, and I actually am really excited about this one. I kind of forgot that where it was in the order of what I was unboxing, because this is the one that just got here recently, the last book. And this is Daredevil number 111. And right on the cover, you can see what this is. Now, he has definitely changed from what we know now and then. But this is the first appearance of Silver Samurai. And, well, that's a Wolverine villain, everybody. Guy whose armor is made out of adamantium. It's the guy from X-Men, you know, the X-Men, no, the Wolverine movie. The Wolverine. Not Logan, not X-Men Origins, but the Wolverine movie. This is who he fights. Well, not this version anyway. But this is pretty dope. Silver Samurai. Again, a Wolverine villain, key first issue though, in a Daredevil book. And this is pretty cool. Plus, it's got Shanna the She-Devil, who I believe, I don't know if she's the one that's married to Kazar or not. But definitely a different time when they were still making characters like Shanna the She-Devil. Kind of a cringy name, if you ask me. Okay, we're gonna move it along to the next one. This one comes from Seekonk, Massachusetts. I'm starting to get like where I know how to open these without damaging the book and trying to get it open as fast as possible. Because we have 2 more books, folks, and these ones, the next 2 are the ones that I'm like, which one do I open first? This one, though, is a big one. This is a big one, everybody. If you go, okay, if this isn't the big one, I guess it's all a matter of perspective, right? I mean, this could actually be that should have been the last one I opened. But last time we did an unboxing, a couple weeks ago, we had the second appearance of a character. Well, I managed to get my hands on the first appearance of that character One issue prior to that other issue where the second appearance was. And again, I went with affordable over getting a very high quality book. But this is, and again, this just helps out my completionist of the Incredible Hulk. This is Incredible Hulk number 271. This is the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon. And yeah, it's like, what? Hulk has to share his 20th anniversary issue with puny talking animal? He's like, you got it, J. Jaws. Move over and make way for Rocket Raccoon. And Rocket's got a really lame looking space outfit, but he does have a gun. And so, Incredible Hulk number 271, the first appearance of frickin' Rocket Raccoon. Guardians of the Galaxy fans, eat your heart out. Okay, here we go. These last two books, maybe I should just show them at the same time, basically. So, I don't even know which one this is. I can't remember which one this is, but both of these books, to me, are the like big cool things to show. I've got some other couple other cool things. So I think I'll show this one and then show off the last little bit. Okay, all right, it's this one. There's nothing wrong with this. This one I'm gonna have to open and show everybody. Okay, this is Strange Tales, number 138. Sometimes the good guys lose. It's also starring Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is an old-ass book, everybody. I love it. But what's the significance to Strange Tales number 138? Well, Strange Tales number 138 just happens to be the first appearance of a very powerful character. And I'm really big into, like, just the weird and the cosmic, like a lot of people are, I think. And in this, it is the first appearance. Gotta find it first so I can just open it up to it. God, this art, though, is amazing in this as I'm looking at all this stuff inside here. So, there's two stories in here. There's the Nick Fury S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. And then there's Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange, in this, has the first meeting, the first appearance of Eternity. It's a big cosmic character up there with the Living Tribunal and characters of those ilk that are basically concepts that become like, when needed, can actually talk to, you know, these beings beyond comprehension, basically, you know, that make up the universe. And Eternity is one of those characters, and it's just super dope, super cool. It opens up all the real trippiness that you can get into in these books, all the great imagery of just so dreamlike and nightmarish and cosmic and cool. And this is a book, again, that's like that if you find this in high grade, you know, go ahead and grab it, man, you know. But it happens to have, like, it doesn't have Eternity on the cover, so I'm sure that the first appearance of Eternity on the cover of a book is also worth something. But I just love this cover. I mean, as a fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? Just a fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where it's like Hydra shooting at Nick Fury, and that title, Sometimes the Good Guys Lose. I mean, that's like film noir. That's a film noir title right there. And I can't believe I own this book. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Such a cool key. Such a cool key. Now, for the last book, of course, they had to put it in something crazy, because it's just the same size as everything else. But we're not going to open it yet. We're not going to open it just yet. We're going to look at this last little few books that I wanted to share. And you go, well, why are you sharing this whole thing if not all of it is like valuable? Well, most people know of the 2-issue X-Men book series called Days of Future Past, where Kitty Pryde goes back in time and tries to stop the mutant massacre from the Sentinels in the future. And it's a very popular book. Well, later on, a few years later, there was a series in the annuals of some of the books called Days of Future Present. I love this cover, by the way. And in this issue, like the first one, the Fantastic Four, it's the first appearance of Ahab here, a mutant hunter. And this is also like grown-up Franklin Richards and Rachel Summers going through their time travel stuff. Kind of like what Cable, like these stories kind of remind me of like what Cable's stories would kind of become in X-Men, things like that. This is the X Factor, Days of Future Present, number 2. New Mutants Annual number 6. This is a Rob Liefeld cover. But then you get to what I think a lot of people that know comics would know is coming up next. And that's part 4 of this. Part 4 of 4. It's X-Men Annual number 14. This is an Arthur Adams cover. If you look right there in the X-Men, I did have Arthur Adams signed this book back in 2019. And this is one of those challenge books where this is, depending on how you look at it, like it's one of those, like, if you want to call controversy in comics controversy, if it has to be, talked about like this is kind of like the first appearance of Gambit, who I believe this book just predates it, but takes place after the events of the first appearance of Gambit in Uncanny X-Men number 266. But yes, another Arthur Adams book. He drew the interiors of this book. Fantastic art all the way throughout. And I get to say, yeah, I got Arthur Adams to sign a first appearance of Gambit. Because technically it's just one of those, like, but it isn't, but it is, but it isn't, but it is. And, it's like the first appearance of Wolverine kind of gets argued. Is it 181? Is it 180? Like, whatever. The last 2 books from my regular collection that I'm going to show off are 2 that got signed. One is from that poster, which you can't see because Venom is so huge. It's from that poster right there. Uncanny X-Men, number 268. And I do own a copy of Uncanny X-Men, number 268. This is one of my favorite books I own. I love this cover. I love the interior art so much. I love the story of Captain America and Wolverine working together back in World War II. Just crazy good art. This is signed by Chris Claremont, the author. When I showed him this book, he was like, oh, I always loved this book. And we got into talking about Jubilee, the character of Jubilee, and what they could do with her in the movies and stuff like that. Even though she had already previously been in X-Men movies, they just haven't really done anything with her at all. But this is just a fun book, written, signed by the author. And then I have Uncanny X-Men number 248, the first Jim Lee work on X-Men, signed by Chris Claremont and by Mr. Jim Lee himself. It's kind of like it's not the best cover of all time, but it's a pretty big one, and getting both the artist and the writer to sign this was an emotional one, where this was the first book that I pulled out of a long box when I was looking through old issues that were, that they just put in the box after a while, finding the first appearance of Jim Lee's X-Men work, and finally being able to walk up to Jim Lee and Chris Claremont with this book was like such a moment. It was such a great moment internally, like going, oh my God, like this is why, like this is bringing the love of the world of comics like all the way full circle when you get to have that as part of it. And it's why I'm not interested right now in ever even thinking about selling my comics, because it's history. It's cool history. For me, it'd be like for somebody back in the old days, it's like getting somebody like Picasso to like sign a napkin or something, or Leonardo da Vinci, writing something out for somebody and giving it to him. And I know that that's like what's, classic art from hundreds of years ago compared to like today. But I mean, these are the things that we appreciate when we go to places to see art. It can be more than just the story inside and everything. And it's just really, really cool when you can have moments like that. Okay, so I think that that's a good enough lead up to opening the final book here. As long as I can find, what did I do with my blade? What did I do with my blade? Oh, no. But for real, what I do with my blade? There it is. Okay. Last book. And then everybody that's not here will finally go, I'm just waiting for him to stop talking, and then we'll get to it. Then I'll watch his video. I don't want to watch it live. Wow. There's a lot of pomp and circumstance at this one. I just want everybody to know that I do plan on doing a lot of comic stuff for my channel. The problem is like my smirk. What I forgot about with the Smirking Reviews Comics, the other channel, why this isn't on Smirking Reviews Comics, the channel that I started a while ago, is because I can't live stream on a channel that doesn't have 1,000 subscribers. And that's not to get everybody to do it, but until I get my editing software back, I can't make videos like this where it's not live and I can just record it and people watch it. I could probably make this a lot more produced video and a lot more fun. And I'm looking at this and I can't get it out of the box fast enough because I have a bit of an issue. For me, it's like one of those, I have to reconcile with what they've done with this character in the MCU. Now, they haven't really done anything with this character in the MCU, but it does exist in a form most recently animated. Man. And I didn't like it. In fact, I pretty much really, if you could say that I hate saying hate about certain things, but I really dislike it. But that doesn't change the fact, oh my god, this is so cool, that I really, really wanted this first appearance. And I'm a big fan of villains, and I kind of made my thumbnail just so I could have this villain in the thumbnail. And I think I have Red Hulk in the thumbnail too. I feel like I have a few of the characters from some of the keys that I pulled out here. But this is a big one for me. This is really cool. Holding it in my hand makes it extra cool. This is Tales of Suspense, featuring Captain America and Iron Man, number 94, the first appearance of MODOK. Now, he's got his animated show on Hulu that I can't stand. There he is, like, right there in the corner on the cover. But this is the first appearance of MODOK. And we're going to open this sucker up because you have to. Gotta get my hands on the inside. So, MODOK is very, very cool, in my opinion. He's such a weird character. He's been all over the books of, like, Hulk. He does a lot of stuff with Hulk. But I want to bust it out where we get, like, a really cool shot of him in here. Come on. I think he's in the Captain America, just like the other book that has Submariner and Hulk stories, or like Doctor Strange and Nick Fury, which Doctor Strange and Nick Fury sharing a book is weird. But I guess it's no weirder than Hulk sharing a book with Namor. But anyway, it's the title of this, like, his little side book is If This Be MODOK. And they've got Captain America, him and AIM working together all the time. Oh my gosh, when am I going to see the... Oh, there he is! The first appearance of MODOK! I am their master. How I am MODOK, as it says there in the corner. Like, such a crazy character. Such a crazy character. And I want to see them do the character justice. Look, I like Patton Oswalt quite a bit. He's in a lot of some of my favorite stuff. But I just don't like it. I just don't like the show. But that does not take away from the love that I have for the character. And this is his first appearance in Captain America and Iron Man's Tale of Suspense, number 94. The first appearance of MODOK! And they really sent it to me in a very nice package that I don't think I need to change the bag and board in this. I don't think I even want to, because I think it's in a very nice package, a very cool looking slick bag. And yeah, so that's it. That was the big unboxing video, boxing video to Elektra Comic-baloo. If you don't get that reference, sorry. The 1980s called and they wanted to have a breakdancing contest with you. So anyway, that's it. That's all there is. I wanted to share my love of my comics and some of the cool key comic books that I have in my collection with everybody. And just again to kind of like get used to talking again on YouTube. And again, just I gotta get my legs out, legs under me again for doing this. And so the more I get out there, the easier this will start being again. And no easier thing for me to talk about than comic books and my love of comic books. I'm wearing my Gambit outfit practically here. So anyway, thanks Deborah for keeping me company here. I hope everybody else enjoys this watching later on after it's live in any form that you decide to watch it. And I'll see y'all next time. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one.